Hi, I'm Jay Van Sciver, the Industrial Sector Head at Hedgeye Risk Management, and I'm here with General Gardner to discuss a bit about the defense budget and the outlook. Turning to General Gardner. General, you've been out on the road over the last few months since joining Hedgeye. What are the key questions you're getting asked by clients?
Well, the most frequent question is what's the impact of the election on the defense budget and on defense industry? And of course, there's a pretty wide spectrum here of candidates from Ted Cruz all the way over on the right, who's talked about at least a 50% increase to the budget, to Bernie Sanders, who wants a 50% cut. And then we have, of course, Mr. Trump and Ms. Clinton somewhere in the middle, and don't get here. So I'm most frequently asked about that. If we assume and stipulate, just to make the problem a little bit easier, if you assume Hillary is going to be elected, she has definitely aligned herself with President Obama. So I think the most likely outcome is that she will align her defense budget plans and the overall allocation for the defense budget similar to what President Obama has proposed. She has a reputation for being somewhat hawkish and out in foreign relations, et cetera, or a stronger position even than the current president. Different situation. I think that whatever president is elected, or whoever, one of these people is going to be elected here in November. And when they come in January 20th, they're going to want to make good on their promises or their debate, or whatever happened over this coming year. And they're going to do some symbolic things to the budget, as far as we're going to put some money in for a wall, perhaps. And so you're going to see some symbolic steps, and it'll take them about a year to really make the budget their own. So pretty much the budget that's being put forward by the president now before Congress, that they're actually working on, will constitute 95% of what we'll see next year.
Interesting. What is the current status of the defense budgeting process, and how do you think the election is going to end up impacting that as it moves through its cycle?
So the president put forward his budget in accordance with the two-year budget deal that was made last fall. About $524 billion in baseline, and then another $59 billion in overseas contingency operations on top. So a total of $583 billion. And it was given to the Congress. The Congress is very interested in having it be a very short legislative year. They're all interested in going out and campaigning, and they're moving very quickly on that. There's a lot of controversy within the Congress. There are a lot of people, particularly within the House, that want to revisit the two-year deal that was done last fall. The rest of the Congress, particularly the Senate, is just assuming that that deal is going to hold, and they're beginning to mark up the individual appropriations bills in accordance with that deal. What's going to be interesting is the budget year begins October 1st. They're certainly Congress is certainly moving at a rapid enough rate to pass a budget by 1 October, but they may well not do that. I think there's a very real chance that we'll have a continuing resolution, a CR. So nobody's interested in having the government shut down on 1 October, but there might be some interest in retaining the final signature on the budget until after the election. So if we have a Republican Congress, and if you see by October or by September that the election is going, well, for example, if it were so that Bernie Sanders looked like he was going to become the president, and we have a Republican Congress, they may be very interested in passing a full budget by 1 October so that he is locked into that. On the other hand, if the Republican Congress sees a Republican candidate winning the election, they may well try and force a continuing resolution that lasts until March, so that when the new president comes in January, he has the ability to have some influence on the current year budget. So we'll have to see how that plays out this summer. I think in general, the Congress wants to get out of town. They're moving quite quickly. They intend to pretty much go out of session by July 15th, and they want to demonstrate that they're effective, but we'll have to see. It'll be August, September before we see, with the conventions in August, and by September whether we actually get a full budget by 1 October. I would predict now that we're going to get a continuing resolution until at least probably Thanksgiving, but quite possibly till March.
Well, it's a scenario that would certainly be quite a lot of volatility for the defense names, and also quite an exciting year for
with
all
a
of us.
continuing resolution, because the FY16 level of funding is about equal to what's being requested for FY17, it's within $3 or $4 billion. The actual, you spend as much in seven. You're not, the rules of a CR are that you spend the same amount, the same levels that you did in the previous year, but you're not allowed to have any new starts. So, for example, shipbuilding. Each ship is considered a new start. So even though $15 billion may be appropriated for the shipbuilding, because you're under the rules of a continuing resolution, you can't actually begin to start work on those ships. And that's okay if it's a short continuing resolution for 4 to 6 weeks, but if it's 6 months, that can really have an impact on your shipbuilding companies, which is primarily, of course, General Dynamics and Huntington Ingalls.
Well, it does seem to be quite an exciting setup for the next year. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you need any additional information, feel free to reach out to our colleagues at Hedgeye. Thank you very much.